Good morning. Welcome, bienvenue. Welcome once again to another Modern Sales Meltdown with myself, Gareth Wax and many purple hats, and the never wrong David Treacle-Jernick. I had to get another one in. Welcome once again to our channel where we talk about modern sales and what it is you need to do just to be effective. We give out topics and hints and ideas which you, if you put into place right now, will definitely make a difference to your sales game. Today's topic is speed up conversions. What do we mean by that, David?
Well, just very quickly, just before I just go into that, I just want to share one little thing. You said that about putting things into practice, right? Yes. You can make then an immediate difference. So I just want to read you something here. Let's have a look. Just want to read you this comment, just a little bit of feedback from something that somebody said. They said that they attended one of my masterclasses. They put into practice what they learned in that masterclass. It was 1 hour on Zoom. Then straight away that afternoon, in their next sales call, they managed to convert them there and then on the call.
And I suspect it was the courage that they developed through having seen someone who has actually used that, who is spreading that as an applicable idea, and then taking that courage and putting it into practice. And I suspect now they've proved it to themselves that works. They'll use it time and time again.
Yeah, this is the thing is that a lot of what we do in sales, even in modern sales, even with the new technologies and everything, most people know what to do, right? They just don't do it. Why do they not do it? Well, because they're going to do it another day. They intend to do it, but I'm not quite ready to do it yet, or I'm not plucked up the courage yet, or I need to do something else first. Yeah,
I think a lot of it is the inherent self-critic. What if it goes wrong?
Yeah,
what if I found out? What if they realise I'm no good at this at all? I should be peeling carrots in the back room somewhere.
I know. So I spend a lot of effort in my calls. I mean, even on this show, yeah, we labour particular points because we want people to put them into practice immediately. As soon as you hear something, you think, "Oh, that's a good idea." Try it on your next call. Yeah, use the Dr. Pepper slogan. What's the worst that can happen? Yeah, exactly. They might never want to talk to me. They won't even remember you again. Yeah, you're
not their friend. You're a person who's coming in to give them an opportunity, and if they don't take it, there'll be another person to take the opportunity. But you've got to give it your best shot. And most importantly of all, I think you are the engine. If you're a salesperson, you are the engine. If you don't feed the engine coal or whatever it is it needs to keep going, it'll die out. And part of what that is the impetus to move forward. You've got to keep going. And one last thing before we get into today's topic, it all bears repetition. Humans learn by repetition. I believe a lot in the fact that if you keep repeating it, they say an old dog can't learn new tricks. No, an old dog can learn new tricks. You just got to repeat the lesson more often. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And repeating the lesson means doing it more than once. So if you do it once and it succeeds, you've got to keep doing it.
A lot of my clients are old dogs. They feel like they're trying to keep up, but honestly, there's no magic involved. There's no sort of tricks of the trade. It's all logical, science-based, based on psychology, systems, processes, and all of that. And really, it's a very similar thing to what we're talking about today: speeding up conversions. I have noticed more recently. I suppose it's has an economic background as well, that people are lingering and they're dawdling and they're delaying asking the big question. They're going off on tangents during a sales conversation with the rationale that I'm developing the relationship, or I don't want to seem too pushy, or all of that kind of stuff. And what it's doing is it's extending their sales cycles. Yeah. If you don't get straight into right at the beginning, straight into trying to qualify a sales opportunity, is this person that I'm talking to or that's made an inquiry or I've managed to reach, are they somebody who's ultimately potentially going to buy from me? Yeah. Are they in the market for the sort of stuff that I'm selling? Do they have the pain points that my product or solution can solve? Yeah. Do they have the kind of money that it's going to cost them? Yeah. Are they ready for it now, or is there a date in the future, or is this going to be a never going to happen thing? Yeah. So they're not even doing that. They want to get into a whole conversation, not just talking about their own products and their own ideas. A lot of people do realize that they shouldn't be pitching themselves the whole time, but they'll get into conversation. I mean, I've had it this week, bless them, wanting to bond early on in the conversation by, getting into personal discussions about what's going on in your life and all of that kind of stuff. And yet it has its place. It definitely has its place. I mean, it has its place during a sales conversation when they are describing, or where you're asking them to describe the impact of those problems that they face that you can solve. What is the impact of having those problems in your life, on your business? Yeah, right. We all have problems. So, those are conversations. But, to try and bond with somebody who you don't really know, who isn't really your friend. I mean, maybe they'll become your friend one day if you become great client-supplier relationships. But you have friends already. You don't need to go out and make more friends. You need to go out and do your work. I'm as guilty of this as anybody. I love connecting with people and love my relationships, right? So people like me and most others need to be on their guard to stay on track, focus your work, you're doing your job. Stop having those sorts of conversations. This is just one element, but it gets even more dangerous when you then enter into the sales conversation and you don't have any direction. And it happens particularly when you have a small pipeline, because you have the time to dwell with each one of those opportunities. Yeah. The fact is, you need more stuff in your pipeline, because you shouldn't really have time to start having conversations about their kids and your favorite football team. And, we've talked about this before, but how do you avoid going off on tangents? How do you avoid, having these extended conversations about life, the universe and everything, when really, you want to be selling your stuff and finding out from them whether they're going to buy it or not?
I tell you what, there is a time for it, and the time is the amount of time you spend talking about outside stuff is, in my mind, proportional to the sales cycle, the length of the sales cycle. If you know it's going to be, if you're selling something that's 3 or 4 million in cost, and therefore it's probably going to take a year or two before it closes, and I've been involved in those sales cycles, then to keep them on side with you in that whole time, it's probably good to know when their birthday is, when their kids' birthdays are, what ages they are, what their favorite sport is. Do they enjoy food? What do they like going out for a particular type of meal? That sort of thing. But if this sales cycle, and for instance, my sales cycle tends to be about 2 to 3 weeks, from the moment I've hit upon a opportunity to the point of getting to the point of when it would close, 2 to 3 weeks. So I tend to get into any of that kind of extraneous stuff once we're in the process of executing that sale. But in the actual construct of the sale itself, no, it's pointless getting into that, because there isn't enough time. There's not enough space to do that.
Well, I think that there's a few things certainly that I've noticed from my own lived experiences is that, sometimes you can become pally with somebody.
Yes.
And then, there are other sort of negative consequences of that. For example, they don't want to let you down. They might be more inclined to ask for a proposal, even when they have no intention of buying from you, because they think it's like a sort of a gentle letdown. I actually had that fairly recently in my events business. I did yesterday. Really? Yeah. I done a gig for a family, just a little gig,
right?
And then they had a big fat gig coming up, and I don't think they were going to use me for that big fat gig. I think they wanted to use somebody a little bit more mainstream. and which is cool. It's fine. But usually with my events business, my sales cycle from the moment of having my first meeting with them to closing is really a few days. It's usually the same week, yeah, or even the next day, yeah. If they like what we talk about in the 1 hour meeting, in which I do invest a lot in my relationship development with them, but I still follow a methodology.
But it's still within the 1 hour. It's not
Within
like
1
a
hour,
whole
sometimes
extended
1.5.
thing that goes on over
To let it
months
go
and
over
months.
1.5, you know, it's fine, it's cool. It's my side hustle, it's fine. And you know, so it's a one meeting sale, basically, yeah, one call sale. So but this, you know, didn't happen. It was like a couple of months ago. I said we'll decide in December. So of course got on a blower beginning of December. We're doing this all whack, and they've booked someone else. It's cool. But you know, I'd invested in my relationship with them, yeah, to a degree. So the relationship guy, tried to limit it. Okay, if I can do it, you can do it. You know, if they become a client, if somebody becomes a client and you start getting, you know, yeah, by all means, not yourselves, I'll take them out for dinner, find out, but you know, make new friends. That's lovely if you've got the space for them. But really, we need to be able to stick to our sales system. So whatever else happens, we know where to come back, and we need a process. And having a process, a formal, written down, structured process that you know what it is, means that even if you do go off on a tangent, you know where to go back to. You know where you left off.
It makes the stages nice and predictable. So
That's
therefore,
right.
and it also means that you can lay out the plan to them. You can say
exactly.
Yeah,
There's no secrets. We're not pulling any tricks. There's nothing magic or sinister or anything.
There's no evil Machiavellian underhanded plan here. I'm gonna talk to you about features and benefits. You're gonna tell me what you need, or more importantly, where your pains are. I'm going to listen. I'm going to repeat it back to you so that you know that I understand exactly what you're up to. I'm going to say where the mesh is between what we can do and what you can do. And then at that point, we're either at the decision point or at the point where we're going to say we will make a decision on X day or an X date, so that you've got laid out. So there's no hidden agenda there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, certainly when I get people to start off on this journey of embedding a process, I get them to write down as a agenda that is on full view to the person they're selling to. Yeah, I mean, my agenda is slightly different to yours, but we all have our own methodologies. But the point is to have a process. Mine is the best, but the point is to have a process and to stick to that process and be open about that process with the person you're selling to, or the agenda, you can call it. Yeah. Right. And if you do not have that, then, and if you are a chatty type, you know, and a lot of people that go into sales or that do selling or that are running business and responsible for selling their wares, you know, can be quite sort of chatty kind of people. And it's nice, you know, we're human beings. We want to be able to connect on a human level. But we still need to get our jobs done. Yes. And that's something, as I say, I've noticed about myself as well. I've been sort of quite good at limiting it and staying on track with some things, but other things I still struggle. But I'm not alone. And almost everybody I'm dealing with fails to get to the point, fails to would rather sort of bypass having to qualify a prospect to see if they really are worth qualify. Do they qualify? Are they worth it?
Right.
Yeah. And they're doing the same to you. You know, is this person selling me their wares? Do they qualify to take up my time? Do they have the minerals to be able to, if I was to go with them, to provide me what I need? Yeah, there's some sort of a minimum level that we all have. We've talked about qualification a lot in these shows. You know, for example, if they were to go ahead, when might that be? Estimated order date. Yeah, if they were to go ahead, how much might they be spending? The estimated order value. Yeah, if they were to go ahead, roughly what sort of thing are they going to be buying? You know, these are qualification questions. If you don't have those answers to those, then, you know, you've got to be questioning yourself about the investment of time you're putting in. If you're doing it because you are thin on the ground when it comes to the number of opportunities you've got, so you feel like you want to invest more effort into each one of those, don't want to waste them, my advice to you is to get more into the pipeline. Yeah,
the pipeline is the fundament of the whole thing. You should be absolutely crystal clear about what is and what isn't on your pipeline. And my I don't know whether it's as affected by my relationship with you, David, but now I'm a lot harder on my pipeline than I used to be. So I grade all the contents of my pipeline on a score of 1 to 5. Where nothing ever really gets scored 5, because at that point it's a sale. I just knocked everything on my desk over. There we go. And what I tend to do is if I think it's not really going to happen, I downgrade it to a 2. It's that simple. I'd rather be dealing with it. So anything that's 4, I'm expecting to close imminently. I mean, there should be no doubt about it. If it's a 3, then we're waiting on something for a close, and if it's 2, then we're not there yet. And being hard on your pipeline is what's going to make that pipeline real. And also it means you're going to waste less time on stuff that you shouldn't waste on, which is really what today's mission is all about. Waste less time, you will close quicker.
You will close quicker, and you will probably close more. It's the gift that keeps on giving. The longer that you extend that sales cycle, the less chance there is of them buying. You know, at the moment, right at the beginning, where they might be most excited, you know, ultimately you want to have your close as close to that moment as you can, because the longer it goes on, you know, the longer that they've lived without your solution.
Well, yes,
the longer that they've had in order to explore alternatives.
Yeah, I mean, I have known people take extra time when they come back. They've realized that they could do without it, and they could just about rub along without it. So why bother? And there's you 3 months after the close is supposed to have come in, thinking, I put all this effort in for what? So let's try and avoid those feelings that you can get to by making sure you stay on top of it and get it done quickly.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much, David. As ever, sage advice to all of you listening. You put that into place today, I guarantee by this time next week, something will have moved forward for you, and hopefully you'll have got a decent close out of it. Until next week, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, and look after that mental health. Bye-bye now.
Ciao, ciao.